So, should we watch this one, guys? I'm looking forward to this, actually. I'm very much looking forward to this. It's a bit of a longer one. So, let's sit down, get yourself a nice, refreshing beverage, put your feet up. Let's watch this one, and then we'll get into the game afterwards, okay, guys? So, this is Sethith, Arknights. Going to be preemptive like. And we're going to get into this one.
We're celebrating the 4th anniversary for Arknights on the...
Damn, man, we just hit the 6th. That's insane. Man, this video's a year. Well, yeah, actually, it's because it's going off EN, probably, yeah.
EN server. But this is not where the dream of Arknights began. We're going back to when the first Arknights characters were drawn. This was on April 5th, 2015. A man known as Hai Mao, aka Lowlight, was designing characters for a game he was currently working for. This was Girls Frontline, and one of the characters is very familiar to us. This is Calcit. At that time, he intended to have her being added to the game Girls Frontline. This ended up never happening, even though the entire lore was already written out on a Pixiv post.
Oh wow, no way. Oh, even all the monster stuff as well. It's just like, you know, it was waiting to come, right? It was waiting to come. Hey, I'm glad it didn't, right? Because that would have meant that that wouldn't be our Calcit in this game, right? Surely?
Surprisingly, this would not be the only character that Lowlight would design but never gets a place in the game. Doctor and W were also supposed to be characters.
Speaking of Doctor, guys, speaking of Doctor, would you guys be interested in potentially, I was thinking about it, I never really do these sort of things, but I thought it would have been kind of fun. A Doctor kind of cosplay stream, you know? I thought it might be enjoyable to do, chat. I thought it might be enjoyable to do. I thought it might be enjoyable to do. I thought it'd be a laugh. We might actually do it, guys. All right, we might actually do it. The God Hand.
Characters for Girls Frontline.
PL stream is full of comments about lagging too. Oh, is it really? Is he having issues as well?
Most likely, this was the start of his connection with Yushong getting worse. So, who is Yushong? Yushong is the CEO of Sunborn, also known as the Mika Team, which are the developers of Girls Frontline. Lowlight didn't call Yushong just his boss, but there was also a period in his life where he called him a friend. But working with friends is always problematic at a workplace.
So did this not last then? This sounds like this didn't last.
Eventually, they start to have different creative views with the direction of Girls Frontline. Or at least, this is what many theorize in the Girls Frontline community.
It all comes back.
2 years
later,
later,
comes back to the spot, bro. To the start.
Lowlight finally had enough and quit working at Sunborn.
Okay.
Lowlight was not planning to find a new job. So, what was his plan? To keep it short, Lowlight had a vision. A gacha game, better than Girls Frontline will ever be. He and his friends founded their own company. This company was called Hypergryph. It wasn't a massive company, of course not.
What was it now? In Chinese, what does it mean? Staghorn? Is that what it means now? I think it was, yeah.
At first, it was just him and his friends. Not long after founding Hypergryph, they started working at Lowlight's division. This game project would later become known as Arknights, and it's supposed to be the first tower defense gacha game on the market. But he knew he and his friends won't be enough to create something far better than anyone else has brought to the market. They needed help, and this is what they got. People who previously worked for Yosta and Sunborn.
You know what I've noticed as well recently? YouTube is so far behind with the comments. I saw a few other streamers complaining about total segue. I do apologize. Just notice when I'm saying so if you guys are coming in a little bit late. YouTube's like so far, and I'm on low latency as well. It shouldn't be a problem. I do apologize. Back to you.
Started to join in. With that, the team got help from people with a ton of developing experience and also some with knowledge in publishing games. But this would not be the only help they would receive. Back in Lowlight,
we don't call it the Dark Souls of tower defense for no reason, right?
At college days, he was also really into doujins, making a lot of them himself. Doujins, for the people that don't know, are fan-made products from already existing media. Most of the time though, it's just art. All the more fitting it is that the college he went to was the Academy of Art in China. This period in his life helped him form a bunch of important connections.
No, I actually went to art college, guys. And then dropped out. I actually did. I went to art college and then I went and did sign writing.
In the Doujin circle, like Norik Zet or Hyungsheng Heitu. Those would not just draw characters for Arknights, but eventually be part of Hypergryph itself. With a team like this, they were ready to create a game far better than Girls Frontline would ever be. or at least this was still their goal. While working intensely for Arknights, Hypergryph also made a little mascot for their company. It might not be relevant for today's story, but I'm hoping for a day Miss Hypergryph would eventually become part of my Arknights roster. So hey, if you have never seen...
Bro, she not gonna fight? The hell?
The mascot of Hypergryph, now you have. But back to the story.
I didn't even know about that. Yeah, I didn't know about that. That's total news to me.
In 2017, Hypergryph had no chill. And this shows in how little time they managed to release the Alpha for Arknights. If we assume they immediately started working at Arknights when Hypergryph was founded, that would mean the official date is 2017 in January. Only 11 months later, we would see the first Arknights Alpha gameplay. This was the 5th of December in 2017. Right? This was in less than a year. They were able to create a game that is already so far developed that they can be shown to the public. But let's not skip too far ahead. During the developing process in 2017, before the release of the alpha, it was not rare to see occasional pictures of the development stages for the game. For example, on the 30th of August, we would get to see the first picture of the main screen in Arknights. If you would see something this today, most likely would think, yeah, that looks pretty mid, and move on with your life. But for us that play Arknights for already 4 years, things do get more interesting. First, let's start at the top right.
It wouldn't have looked so mid. Not that it looks mid, but you know what I mean.
Even to this day.
It would have stood out
the
more.
original prime count is at 12k. A number a broke person like you and me will never see on their account. The Sanity logo was also not a thing yet, but we get to see the stages were called OP21, which most likely stands for Operation 21. Very simple, but I'm glad they changed it. Having to say I am stuck at Operation 400 when regarding to Chapter 12 is merely just confusing, and being able to say 1220 is just much more pleasant. Squad and operators switch sides. The only thing is that in squads we see a time, 1410. No clue if that used to have a purpose or not, but I couldn't think of any reason why that might be there. Recruitments in shop are also at the same place as today. It's just that recruitments and heat hunting were in the one and the same section. And you were able to see how long it takes until recruitment.
That's actually quite impressive. How the UI, how usable it was initially. You know, because UI is usually a thing that drastically changes over a game's lifespan. Definitely pre-launch. So it's actually quite impressive how it stayed pretty similar really for the lifespan of the game even prior to release. Give me a second, he's fucking dog again. My bad. Yeah, he's a demanding man. Elsie's just chill. He's like, bro, do things for me. I want to check the back door. I want to check this. I want to do that. It's like, shut up, bro. Just lie down. Alright, let's get back into it.
We're done. The depot is most likely to the right.
They got what they wanted to do with the UI pretty early on, so then change like, yeah, it's good to see,
right.
Good to see.
And the base is to the left. Weird is that you can see the drones for the base in the depot, and for the base you have a timer on how long it takes until the command center is finished building. I am glad they got rid of the Clash of Clans building system, where you must wait until the building working is finished. To the left, we get to see the News tab and the Task tab, which are pretty much self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's pretty similar still even now. This has just been cleared up a little bit now, hasn't it?
The Friend tab also makes a lot of sense. The only two I found rather confusing were the crown and the flag. Everything I can see about it are speculations, so I will leave this to your imagination.
What are they, chat? What do you reckon? What do you reckon they would have been?
They were level 65, with the account's name being Farisa. I love this little Easter egg, since Farisa is not just a random name they picked. But I'm not spoiling anything here. A month later, the old official Arknights account did post their first official Arknightian tweet. This was Set Sail. Last time I talked about it, I was only able to speculate on this. But if we go off this...
Damn bro, it's still wild to me though now, man, that 2017 was 8 years ago. Holy fucking shit.
Random person's comment. Rhode Island is a landship. Arknight's name also has the word Ark in it, which is a type of a boat. And this isn't a stretch either, because Arknight's Chinese name, Ming Ri Feng Shu, roughly translates to the ship facing tomorrow. It might be accurate or not.
I definitely do think the name sounds better in English, that's for sure. The ship facing tomorrow.
It's one of the most likely theories I saw, therefore just take it with a grain of salt.
Not exactly a catchy
3
one.
months have passed after the tweet. It was now time to see the first gameplay footage of the alpha they released. While there are only a few recordings
Stop
available
making me
today,
all, hey,
a YouTuber
man, it's
documented it
time,
quite
man, I
well.
have to say.
They go under the name Steparu. They got the opportunity to test the game. Maybe when referring to a pre-amnesia doctor, they were just referring to Steparu all along. Anyway, the source of the footage I will be using from here on out regarding the old gameplay is from them, so please check out Steparu's channel. In the end, there is no better way to see the vision Hypergryph once had than looking at the first footage of the game. How much does it truly differ from today?
Man, look at Fang.
Well, the answer is quite a lot. Some things stayed the same, or at least the backbone of it is recognizable. But countless things were in.
So the Recruit was from day one, yeah, Recruit. See, like, I didn't, obviously I don't know because I'm like late to the game. I thought this was probably something that came in later as like a quality of life, you know, accessibility thing or something like that. I didn't think it was like in the game from the get-go. Insane? Okay.
Insanely different at that time. Looking at this is not only intriguing, but also makes you think what could have been if they wouldn't have changed it.
Oh
One
wow,
of the
did you
biggest
see that
changes
there?
they made was about the
stage.
at that time. Looking at this is not only intriguing, but also makes you think what could have been if they would.
Okay. Just giving you the tiles, yeah, and the enemy spawns and the defense points. Okay, interesting.
Have changed it. One of the biggest changes they made was about the gameplay. Back in its alpha, potential upgrades were not a thing, meaning you could own the same operator multiple times. In Alpha Arknights, you could bring the same operator more than once to a stage, so beating a stage with only cruises would have been a possibility back then. At first, it sounds super fun.
Have they ever done any stages like that just for fun? You know? Have they ever done anything like that, like for events where you could just have multiple of the same unit in a stage? Because that would be kind of fun, actually.
But the more you think about it, the more grateful you are that they did change it. I personally believe the implementation of potential upgrades was a good thing. Yes, it would have been fun to use 12 times the same operator. Think one step further and ask yourself, what would have been the meta in day 1 Arknights? Just bring the most broken operator 12 times and call it a day. I struggle to think of any early stage that would have been not clearable with 12 Silver Ashes, skill-free M3, or 12 Ifrits or whatever you can imagine. Beside that, it would have made the game insanely pale and boring. Pulling for the same character 12 times would not only put me in debt, but
that was definitely a change that was a good change for sure, right?
It also makes it less exciting for any character release.
Would have broke the meta totally,
for their decision to change this.
Imagine the meta being 12 wishes. That's exactly what I was thinking about, you know.
One of the mechanics is cloning one of your ops and be able to use them at the same time. This would be hilarious if it's just a one-time thing. The alpha itself had many different things that were intriguing, be it the display of the stages, or just how the UI looked. Comparing the alpha to how the game looks after 4 years of its release.
One thing I'll say though, man, even back then, like, and obviously I say it shows that the UI was a good design because it hasn't changed drastically. Even then, man, so clean, right? You know, Arknights has got a clean, this is one thing that like a lot of people was bigging up Enfield for as well, is like the UI design. You know, coming from another game that I really like as well, Zenly Zone Zero, suffers from an over-tuned, over-designed UI, which, although looks really nice on the face of it, is very much less serviceable, you know, in regards to like efficiency and all that sort of stuff. Where like this is just clean, it's crisp, it's smooth. Yo, shit, dude, man, fucking hell, jeez, yo. Guys, can we get some fucking dubs in the chat, please? Unholy Zero Cheese coming in with the 5 gifted. The 5 gifted, guys. Let's get some W's in the chat, man. For my boy. Thank you very much, dude, for the continued support again. Yo, shout out to Fatless Joshua, Hermit, BS Commissions, Knight as well. Getting all the gifted there. Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for the continued support, dude. Continue supporting the Twitch channel now for quite a while, man. Absolute legend. Top bloke as well. Good guy. Thank you very much, dude. I really do appreciate the support. You're an absolute freaking legend. Yes, let's see those dubs in the chat, guys. Absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Nice one, chat. Nice one. All right, let's get back to it then. Yeah, again, though, UI. Clean, man, right? Clean chat. Like, this is a clean UI back then. Insane.
It's truly an experience. Looking at the summoning animation, you can clearly see that the style changed quite a lot. I personally think for single summons, keeping the old animation would make it a lot more exciting to do a temple, since now it is a completely different animation for
man,
single
look at where...
And
oh,
now
actually,
that the amazing temple...
I do like the temple. That looks kind of nice, though, that does. I'm not gonna lie.
Where you have 10 characters at the same time. But now, right now, the way it is, it's the same animation, just instead of pulling out 10 different characters, it's just one. And I think it's a lot less exciting this way. In the alpha, there were also 7 classes instead of 8. Guard, Sniper, Caster, Healing, Tank, Specialist, and Supporter, with just a different logo. Vanguard was not really a thing yet, and to regenerate DP, you would bring a guard with a DP ability, like the 3-star Doberman. Yes, I didn't misspell that. Not only was it super common for
smart move to go into, like, I suppose, I guess that subclass or new class with the Vanguard. Yeah, definitely.
Prayers.
Vanguard demoted.
Have a completely different ability kit. Like, for example, Project Red being able to go full Manticore mode. But also the highest rarity operator were just 5 stars. So all current 6 stars were 5 stars, and all 5 stars...
Oh, okay, so they got amped up to 3 stars, so that's why Cruise is a 2-star.
4 stars, and so on and on. Bang, for example, was a 2-star, and as we know, 2 stars don't have any skills. Rendering 2 stars rather useless compared to 3, 4, and 5 stars. At this point, you might have also noticed the difference in sprites. Many of the chibis look completely different. To describe it broadly, most of the...
Man, Silence looks kind of similar though, right?
The chibis looked a lot wilder and more like emos before they got reworked. For some, this style made them look a lot better, like for example my favorite in that style, Meteor. This look fits her so much better in my opinion, than the new one we have right now.
You know what? I think he's kind of right there, yeah. I think he's kind of right. Ooh. Old Cruise versus new Cruise. She looks very similar. Jacket slightly different. Shape of her head's different as well. I think I prefer the new Cruise, man. I think I prefer the new Cruise. Like, her face is cuter, I think. I think her hair looks better as well. Yeah, I think overall, I think I prefer the new Cruise.
For this like Cruise, I am very grateful for the change.
Yeah.
Fang looked equally good.
Yeah, Fang looks better as well. To be fair, though, this Fang's more canonically fitting for me. Because she's almost got that sort of anime, you know, like her knees are going weak kind of stance. And considering Marfang is spending a lot of time dead, kind of works really, to be fair. But the new one does look better.
In both versions, Amiya went from I'm an anime girl to I'm a donkey. Ifrit was a bit more of an emo. I like both versions of her.
See, again, this one's a little bit closer. I think I prefer the eyes on the older one here. I suppose they look a little bit more fitting here. I like that the horns are a little bit bigger as well here. This one's hard because it's like some things look better on the older one, but then other things look better on the new one. I think what it is they just look a little... It's like they almost look a little bit more crisp, don't they? And I suppose this is because of the images that have been chosen, though, as well. I suppose it's because there's less stuff going on, maybe. I don't know, it almost looks like there's more stuff going on as well at the same time. What do you reckon with this one, guys? Girl value Fang death count, right? Yeah, man. New Cruise way better. New Cruise way better. Put the new hair on the old head and it looks decent. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one, I am.
So I don't mind either way. Exia had pretty much the same emo face as Ifrit. How she had a horn in a way it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Your Fang die so often should be called Fangtality.
So the new version wins it for me. Deep color glasses were a bit off, or at least it gives me the vibe. Shiroyuki was the only one done super dirty. A complete overhaul for an already amazing looking design.
Oh wow, why? Wow. She genuinely looked better, yeah. Genuine look better? Yeah, she looked better before, she did. Face looks better. The legs, the boots with like the straps, that looks better. The whole outfit looks better, yeah. I prefer the new chibi. Yeah, really. With yeah, I'm for the old one as well. I think the let me move my camera out the way so you guys can see it fully. I am definitely. I'm preferring the older one there. Yeah.
Overhaul for an already amazing looking design. I love the old outfit. It's not like I dislike the new one. It's actually the opposite. I love the new one just as much.
Yeah, same. It's a really cool design.
Both versions would be a possibility today. So I know
it'd be cool if they did that with some, like, you know, they did a classic skin range, right? With some of these characters that have actually had like their outfits overhauled, that they brought them back for like a celebratory announcement, like, hey guys, you can get access to some of the original skins. Now it could make the full skin or just the outfit. I think that'd be kind of cool. I do.
Hoping.
Yeah, it's more tactical. Yeah, definitely.
They celebrated with releasing the old character design for Shiroyuki. And this just as
they definitely agree with that. They're both good, yeah.
But Eschine was one of the earliest characters designed. They introduced her in 2017. But when the game released, she was nowhere to be seen. Most likely, like Shiroyuki, she got a redesign that turned Eschine into Astasia. But unlike Shiroyuki, they came back to the old design and said, well, it wasn't so bad, and reintroduced her to the game 2 years after the game released. At least this is what some tweets and Reddit posts suggest what happened. There is still a possibility they do something similar with her old design and say,
like Shiroyuki's old design.
Shiroyuki has a sister. The amount of code needed for this is insanely high, but there is still a chance, right? Sadly, most of the footage was lost in time, and we can't take a look at every operator being in the alpha version of the game.
That's a shame.
There is a picture of some of the old chibis though, and one we haven't discussed is Estelle, one of my earliest E2s on my main account. Her old design was one of the wildest at the time.
Do you know one thing I do like about the older ones though? It's a different aesthetic. Obviously, it's a chibi aesthetic, but it's different, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like this. They're definitely, you know, the legs are, you know, exemplified a little bit more in their shape and stuff, aren't they? You know, it's a little bit more extreme and such. You know, like the hands being a bit bigger and all that sort of stuff. Almost like the arm length shorter in that on a lot of them, isn't he? I really like both though. There, man, I do.
And I'm absolutely in love with it. I do like the new design a lot, but I just love the old design a bit more. While the alpha looked very good already, there were a few things that weren't thought out yet.
Yeah, they've got that sort of like
mentioned, you can get
weak at the knee stance, right?
Character. My research did not help to find me a place where you can sell or feed the pulled characters. Once you pull the character, how do you get rid of them? If I had 13 cruises, would they just sit in my account forever? Or would they have some kind of reusability? I am very curious if there was an operator cap, and what the initial plan was, what the dupes are used for. Unlike we find someone that played the alpha, or an interview from Hypergryph, this most likely will remain a mystery.
Back problems in our old
Either
model.
way, the reception of the alpha test was great. I even found the first...
It's unfair to compare like this season drawing higher quality art and not the old in-game chibi art. Yeah, I think a direct comparison. We're more just looking at like, I'm at least me anyway, I'm more trying to think about the style. Hold up, these dogs are out again. Alright. My mom's just come round with my niece, so he's getting mental. Alright, you get back to it. Excuse me, you can never have enough crews. This is true. This is true.
First evidence of a person appreciating the drip of Arknights. During the next 7 months after the alpha test, bugs were fixed and the game became a lot more polished. So much so that Hypergryph felt ready to announce the next test this would not be another alpha test or a tech test, but actually a beta test already. Unlike many game
man, they were
companies,
moving quick,
they
yeah.
were showing how quickly a good game can be produced if the entire team consists of people that want to release a good product and are not just there for
We don't talk about that, dude.
the monthly payment.
We don't talk about
In the
it.
beta, things were already a lot more refined, and it only got much harder to find major differences. Besides the obvious UI
Was that 2,800, was
and
it?
that
I missed
6
that.
stars were still only being 5 stars. Some operators were also a completely different rarity than they are now. One example of that would be Chen. At that time, Chen was just
Man,
a
that'd be
4
nice,
star
right? Yeah.
that the game would give you for free by playing through the story. Something hard to imagine, considering how many people absolutely sim for her and spend hundreds of dollars on her banner. From a business perspective, this was easily one of their better decisions they made to make her a 6 star, since her banner was really profitable. In the beta, we also see a lot more different characters compared to the alpha, and all the chibis have been reworked to what we know today. One of the things that was still different is how the stages looked. While Frost Nova still has the same pathing, how the stage looked was completely different. And if you look at the characters used in the stage, you see Mei and Kelsit.
What's that? I almost didn't recognize that stage then.
They were already in the game, making it a possibility that in the beta there were more characters in the game than when the game first released. Obviously those are only speculations, but it is a real possibility. Chapters also had now parts, meaning there was Chapter 4 Part 1 and Chapter 4
Damn, man, they move fast in between those tests. That's actually kind of insane.
Part 2. Putting the chapters together and be able to move them left to right made things a lot cleaner.
By the way, on the Platinum, there's a monthly game selection, so I'm going to need some ideas from people. Ooh, let's go, let's go. Yeah, we could do, we could
very
do.
interesting section called Operation Kitor. In there was a stage called X1.
Bro, I've been trying to get into that
will
Art
remain a
Raiders test,
mystery
man.
what kind of stages were planned for this section, but I would not be surprised if it was the hate stages or annihilations. But looking at all the different stage designs, I kind of miss the simple enemy pathing without having to deal with 3 to 4 different mechanics at the same time. Another major difference was the base. If we look at the trading post, you see that back
that's
then,
really different,
it had
yeah.
so many options for it. Especially being able to craft building material.
Man, the UI though, again though, man, so crisp. UI so crisp.
Sped up my base progression immensely at the beginning. Other than that, you can see also some very interesting materials, like bare gold and pure gold. I would guess you would craft bare gold to later craft it into pure gold to get LMD, but since crafting some pure gold costs 8,000 LMD, I am really not sure what its purpose could have been. The other 3 materials were probably intended to craft the Rignum. At least this is what I'm assuming, since one of them is still in the game and is the base material for it. The only other noteworthy thing I noticed was that beside the previously mentioned chibi designs like Cruz and Fang still not being changed into the new one, I found one other chibi I really like the design of that I've not noticed before. This is Chitano. She looks so much more glorious with that style. Like, if I would have played Arknights and Chitano had a chibi design like this, I would have probably used her a lot more. I really think it matches her so much better than the updated version. The final Arknights beta was a success as well, with many players being satisfied with their first impression of Arknights. It was now 2019. The release date of Arknights was coming closer. In China, the official release date for the game was on the 1st of May. At that time, no one could tell how well liked the game is gonna be. Until now, Hypergryph had no consistent income of money, and if the game would flop, it would pretty much mean they would go bankrupt with their company. One of the most important...
So you can understand, like, obviously why they went to YoStar, why it was mobile for so long, literally only getting a PC client now, why it's not available everywhere, why there's a delay between global and CN as well. It's just the course of some of these games, isn't it? And as I say, hopefully now when it comes to Enfield, it's going to be global launch, right? It's going to be on Enfield all at the same time. The money, the resources have come later now. You saw it with like PGR to Wuthering Waves. It's really, I'm really happy to see, the glow up's been good, right?
Important things when releasing a game is the publishing process, including marketing and management of the game. Be it the ads or social media presence, if you can't make the masses excited for its launch, things might get rough. Most of the time, companies hire so-called publishers. They are the key to a successful launch campaign. So it was
Before
quite
Genshin
a
gacha on
surprise
PC is
to me
unheard
that
of. Yeah,
Arknights had no publisher.
This is what I say. I made a video before, right, saying that, like, I think in a sense we owe like this. Not that we owe an apology, but like, the video was the entirety of the video. The premise of the video was like talking about how we wouldn't be where we are in this genre now if it wasn't for Genshin, in my opinion. And a lot of people didn't like that because the idea of, like, you know, acknowledging a lot of the positives that Genshin's done for the industry. Although, you know, there's some negatives. You know, the whole style of the way the gacha system now for a lot of games is predominantly because of Genshin, which, you know, can be argued against. But some people are like, nah, man, nah, we'd still be there. We'd still be there now. The other games would just, and I'm like, but would we though? I'm not saying that other games wouldn't have happened and these, but like, Genshin really showed that you can spend a lot of money on a game, really step up production quality, and in terms of like visual fidelity, scale, scope, you know, go bigger basically. And, you know, there was money to be made in it, and not just money, lots of money to be made in it, generational wealth to be multi-generational wealth to be made in it. And I think that's now why we're getting so many, you know, and look at Enfield. Would Enfield be the scope it is now if it wasn't for Genshin? Would Wuthering Waves be the scope it is? Would we be getting an Anta? Would we be getting NTE? Now, I'm not saying those wouldn't eventually have come, but would we be where we are now if not for it? I'd argue, obviously, hypotheticals because we just don't know, but I'd argue that I don't think we would, man. I think we'll be a couple of years behind. I really do. I genuinely do.
For their server in China. Hypergryph themselves are the publishers.
Give it the likes, it only costs me money. I'm a prick, so it costs me more money.
We have some people who previously
yes,
worked
guys,
for
like the stream, drop a like on the stream, it's appreciated.
Most of the time, you would want an entire company dedicated to this, and not just a few dudes.
I appreciate Genshin existing. I just hate everyone. Yeah, that's fair, and that's exactly fair, isn't it? Right? You know, that's. I think people were trying to. In that video, they were trying to make out that I was like gassing Genshin up for what like it is now and saying that you should like Genshin. I was like, I'm not. You can dislike the game, but you've got to reflect on the like where we are now. You know, it was a big player on it. It was a big player in the space.
This would only add more pressure to them for their launch. Everything Hypergryph worked on in the past 2 years will come down to this moment. Would it pay off, or is it time to let the company go bankrupt? The fateful day was here, the 1st of May 2019. The servers in mainland China went live. And in a matter of just a few days, Hypergryph didn't just see that the game was doing well, but that they truly struck gold. The Chinese market loved it, and it quickly gained popularity.
15 days online. Wow. Okay. They hit the ground running, yeah. That's crazy.
So much so that releasing it internationally was not just a consideration anymore, but a must. But Hypergryph knew they neither had the capacity or the manpower to launch a game in Japan, Korea and the rest of the world without running into major problems. This is where they had to make one of the most important decisions for the future of their game. Who will be responsible for publishing the game in all 3 regions? Which publisher will not let them down and will make the game successful globally as well? Luckily, Lowlight already made connections with a publisher he personally trusts.
We learned about this in the last video, right?
This in fact was Yostar. Not only would they be responsible for the JP Korea.
I know a lot of people have got their own issues with Yostar, but again, you know, we might not. Well, I think we'd eventually got, you know, had a global version, but like, I don't know, publishers sometimes can be, they can treat developers badly as well. I'm not accusing Yostar of this, but you know, glad that he'd made those connections and they're able to come in and make it happen globally for everybody to enjoy it all around the world.
Via launch, but also for the global launch as well. A big task, but Hypergryph had trust that they will do an outstanding job at that. While the CN server was flourishing and exceeding all expectations,
unfortunately,
preparations for the global launch was going at full speed. To guarantee success, everything needed to be perfect. From ads to social media presence, Yostar made sure to hype up its launch as best they possibly can. Naturally, a CBT, aka closed beta, was needed. They scheduled it at the end of December, and many famous content creators were making content about Arknights, one of which was FG3000, the king of gacha first impressions, making even more people aware about Arknights and helping Yosta to have an even higher chance to have a successful launch in mid-January 2020. During that time, I was in Japan, and I can tell you, dodging Arknight ads was pretty much impossible.
Bro, we watched a video the other day, yeah, on the OG Arknights ads. Oh my god, they were fucking terrible. They were so fucking bad, chat. The typical, like, terrible mobile ads that, like, literally make you cringe for everybody involved. Absolutely insane. The sort of ads where you'd look at it and go, yeah, I'm actively going to avoid that game now. So wild that they went down that path. Like, because it was basically the MO of the typical mobile game where it's like, they show you what the game is, and then you just, that game never existed, which they just didn't need to do that, did they? So it was such a weird way to, they obviously were working with the same companies that were making ads for a lot of other games. It was just like, insane. I'm not going to lie, like say, if I'd have saw these ads back in the day, I'd be like, I ain't playing that shit. What the fuck?
The launch was set on the 16th of January in 2020, and this for all servers. Naturally, the exact times would differ, since you don't want to launch a game at 4 AM in the morning for the Americans. So the Japan server and Korea server are...
He also has marketing contracts with whoever was doing that was definitely not one to repeat, I'd say.
just a few hours ahead. I probably won't need to tell you when Arknights
Funnily enough, you got into Arknights because of Watch
Korea,
Mojo. Really?
from
No way.
the very beginning,
It's effectively
exceeded all
anti-advertisement.
expectations once more, with people praising the art and design of its characters everywhere. But globally, it was a bit more unique
As they
in
should.
that regard. Many gacha offer a Southeast Asian server or a European server, but since this would not really be necessary, since there is no PvP or any real-life time interaction, this would not be a necessity. While it could reduce the loading time for many players from that region, the decision was made to just have one global server for everyone. If this was a good decision, would only show after the global launch. As for the global community, many of its most well-known content creators, even to this day, would already be releasing content about the game before its initial launch. For example, Kyostin V, Tactone, and Dreamy were pumping out guides and infos about Arknights, so you would be able to start with all the necessary knowledge to have the most efficient start. The launch was here, and not even a day later, Twitter and many other social media websites were clustered with Arknights content if we were just following any gacha related topics. All around the world, people were in love with the new tower defense game. Be it European or Asians, none of them seemed to be really bothered by not having their own dedicated server, and loading times and lag were not much of an issue either. Arknights was able to just not shine in its simple but difficult gameplay, but also their character design, voice acting, and marketing got people interest into the game. Arknights also had a bit of a meme nature, like for example Kokadayo or Amiya the Donkey. People loved its lighthearted design. Unlike many other games, you can feel how much the developer enjoyed working on the game. Only a few days later, one of the previous men...
And that's fair to say. That's one thing that for me, same with Wuthering Waves as well, you know? PGR gives me that vibe as well. There's plenty of other games also that, like, it feels like a passion project, you know? It feels like one. It doesn't just feel like a game that was pumped out. It feels like the people who made it, like, genuinely wanted to create something. And obviously, I think even more so when you look at something like Arknights, not just the game itself, the lore, the world, the music, the events, the concerts, you know, the ever-expanding orbit that surrounds the game itself is, I think, is testament to that, isn't it, really? Yo, what's up, Plus? How's it going?
Will also become the face of Arknights. This was Tactone. Many loved him. He was unique, funny, and a bit loud. His content was not for everyone, and some ended up really disliking him at the time, but most would generally enjoy his content a lot. Another creator would become known as the savior. This was Daddy Kyostin. No one helped more people than him.
Shout out to Kelson.
Since Arknights was so new.
Big shout out to Kelson for letting us mirror his stream the other day. We both got to keep together as well.
And for many, it was their first tower defense game. Players were struggling. Players that quit the game early on were most likely stuck on a stage or just didn't know how to progress any further.
Been there,
While it's all speculation, I could imagine without Papa Kyostin, a shit ton of people would have quit Arknights long ago. After the launch, all 4 servers
still
were
going
going
free,
smoothly without any major
chat.
setbacks. While there was never really any drama, the only thing people were unhappy about the game was mostly due to the different treatments of different servers, be it about the KFC skins or the different maintenance rewards. The one thing that seemed to upset its player the most is the inequality between servers. This is something that gets brought up even to this day. Another main subject of any Arknights discussions is that the CN server launched 8 months before all the other servers. It was also that far ahead regarding story, characters or anything else game related. The opinion about this was and still is very split in the community. While many free-to-play players absolutely love it, since they can already decide for which character they want to pull on, and
we watched a video about this the other day, didn't we? About the like, you know, the pros and cons of having like clairvoyance. You know, the Arknights is not the only game that has it, where, you know, a particular server, typically usually CN, will be a little bit further ahead. Obviously, you've got the negatives of seeing stuff before it comes, so you're having to wait a while. Loss of hype for some people, and then there's the positives of being able to plan for your pulls, being able to plan for events, knowing what's coming up, and then for some people that excitement as well, and getting to see how good the content is beforehand. Now, obviously, I'm the type of person that I want everything to be coming at the same time so we can just get access to it when it comes out. But there is definitely benefits to it. But, you know, I think once you've been going for so long as well, trying to do those mergers can bring up problems as well. We spoke about it with PGR as well, didn't we?
Which they want to skip very early on. A significant part of the community argued that they would love to be at the same pace and the same place as the CN server. Most advocating for this are annoyed by the CN spoilers, and when something gets released on the CN server, they would have to wait for an entire 8 months until they get the chance to experience it. Both sides have a very good point, but in the end, time difference will always be there, and there's nothing we can do about it. Other than that though, all 4 servers were going smoothly, and half a year passed when Nien, the first limited operator, got announced on the EN server. With that, we would also see the first EN livestream. I never watched an EN livestream since I was always a fan of the GP one, but looking back at this...
Damn man, look how far they've come with the streams and stuff as well. You know, I know this is an EN live stream. Like, is this an EN or is this a JP one, this one? Or is this just a CN? But damn, they've come far, haven't they? Just look at the butter on the lens of this camera, bro. It looked like somebody smeared butter over the lens.
The quality of it was really bad, considering Yosta was already quite a big company back then.
Hi guys, so here I am again. Yep, we're going to do it without the mask today, so I'm not Doggy anymore. But wait, where's my partner?
Sorry, I'm late.
Okay,
Wait, you're not Crystal.
why are you wearing my mask? Okay, so yeah, today it should be Crystal.
Oh, my balls just went up inside my body, man. Oh my god. The audio desync, the terrible green screen, the crappy camera, the cringe. Oh my god. Yeah, you got everyone's got to start somewhere though, right? Even though, like you said, they had the resources, still funny though.
And Inton here.
Even though Nien was the first limited operator, the community took it well and really enjoyed the entire event. From the Nien banner,
You check out the newer EN streams. I need to be fair. I haven't seen any of the EN streams, actually.
You might have heard of the Hankers. Yes, this is where it all started. But things were going smoothly for quite a while. Almost too smoothly. Global would soon experience the biggest setback in its entire lifetime.
Okay.
This was the even more successful launch of another gacha game, known as Genshin Impact. Twitch would experience...
That was a perfect what's it then in the landscape with the shadow coming over, the shadow of Huyo. Yeah, I was going to say it probably did steal a lot of EN players from a lot of games, didn't it really? Because it crushed EN, right? Like, obviously, games are used to doing well, CN side, right? But Genshin absolutely, like, globally, just took things to a whole new level, didn't he?
Record low view numbers, and most of Arknights' iconic content creators would then and there decide to quit the game forever. The most significant one was the once well-liked Tectone. Tectone did not leave the community quietly, but made a video when he left, labeling the Arknights community as toxic and a horrible place to be in.
So, in case you don't know, dude, the Arknights community sucks. Okay? Really sucks. And it's not like a normal level of suck. I'm like saying like, ugh.
Obviously, this didn't go well with the Arknights community, since we were especially proud of how welcoming and awesome our community is.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you know, obviously, bias, obviously, I'm glazing you guys again. But yeah, my experience has been chill, man, you know? It's been really chill. 99.9% of people have been incredibly welcoming, have you know, been really good ambassadors for the game. Have wanted to help, but at the same time, you guys know I'm a little bit stubborn. Like, I've still not E2'd any characters, and have been easy enough when I'm like, I don't want backseating. People are like, yeah, man, chill, whatever you want. We're here to just enjoy the content, enjoy the game. Yeah, man, it's anecdotal, of course, and I'm not like trying to act like there's no bad actors in the space, because that would be ridiculous. But yeah, to be saying that though, I've been lucky throughout the entire space, man. I had a really good experience with the Genshin space. I had a really good experience with the Star Rail space. I had, for the most part, a really good experience with Wuthering Waves as well. Now, I'm a much smaller content creator, so obviously the toxicity itself is probably going to be less than. Yeah, man. Honestly, it's been really good on my end, you know. And again, that's a personal point of view. I can't state the same for everybody. Like, but yeah, man. Got chuck the glazing in there, chat. Got chuck the glazing. Like the stream.
Besides Arknights' official Discord server, we don't talk about that. This entire period, with all the content creator leaving, would become known as the Dark Age. Around October, the Arknights community was tired of Arknights content, while the game itself was still super fun to play. Outside of the game, there was not a lot of content creators still sticking to the game.
I'm not going to lie, man. It kind of feels like where the Wither space is at the minute. Now, I'm not saying that people are bouncing out the game, because they're not. Like, I feel like there's more people coming into the game. But kind of like, I feel like we're going through that period in Wuthering Waves at the minute, man. Like, the Dark Ages for me, it's just it just feels like it's a toxic space at the moment. In general, whichever way you're going, with the toxic positivity or just the constant nitpicking with everything that's not Wither as well. And I love Wuthering Waves, and for the most part, I love the community as well. But like, yeah, I think every game goes through this, you know, especially when it's been around for a while. You have the peaks and the troughs, don't you, on the game side of things and on the community side of things as well. Like, I think, you know, it happens, and it, especially with the gacha space as well, when you have like a bit of content slowing down and everybody's bored, and next thing you know, everybody's at each other's throat.
Those who did would later become known as the second generation of Arknights content creator. Creators like Cookie Kaze, Frostbite, or even me would see numbers they have previously not seen before. Loyalty paid off for us and played a major role in our content creation career. Also, not all big content creators left forever. Some big ones stayed with us as well. Hyostin, Ekochen, Takdes, Dreamy Oyuki,
PGR and movie communities like Day and Night.
With the leave of Tectone, viewer did drop massively at first, but eventually recovered, and the community started to feel a lot more familiar and calm as well. At least, this is my personal experience with it. Every time someone introduced themselves as a new player in my Twitch chat, they were eager to give them advice and to help them whenever it was needed. This Dark Age might be known under a not so nice sounding name, but it is what the community today was shaped by.
Is he going through a renaissance chat at the moment? Is he? I don't know.
First, Yoastar only cared about the management of Arknights and promotional videos and songs, but was under some heavy fire for not making enough for the community. Be it community events,
appreciate you, Renegade.
or just free advertised on YouTube, or content creators with fan art, cosplays, memes. People wanted to get more help from Yoastar, but didn't receive any at first. The only thing we did have was a video contest for YouTuber. While yes, this was a global exclusive thing, it was just a popularity contest, and you had no chances of winning.
Bro, that hoodie he's wearing sick, man. Where'd you get that from, bro? If you ever watch this video, where'd you get that from?
If you were not an established content creator for the game. Very cool that it at least existed, even though it could have been much better. Artists, cosplayers and memer rarely got the chance to show off their skill in a contest, and some really wanted Ghost to do more in that regard. Especially because Lowlight was doing an outstanding job for the CN server, going as far as specifically mentioning how much he values it, and even showing
with Lowlight, yeah. Has he ever, like, not that it matters, like, has he ever, I guess, crossed the... I know he's the guy for the game in general, but I know he, like, deals with a lot of the CN side of stuff, especially with, like, all the streams and stuff. Has he ever crossed the gap? Like, you know, does he reach out to the EN side of things, you know, ever to speak to the community? Just out of curiosity, I was wondering. When shit servers leave things get calmer, say it ain't so. And that's because PGR has its own community, but Weaver is a bunch of Genshin refugees. Yeah, do you know what I think? Like, for me, I think that is what a big part of, like, I guess, kind of the attitude in the Weaver space. Now, I know a lot of Weaver creators don't like this sort of comment, and they'll use a bunch of logic to argue it. And they might be right. I'm not even saying I'm right, you know. But I think it's like, in the Weaver space, I feel like it's like that, like, the refugee sentiment. There's, like, a lot of jilted lovers. So they've come away from that game now, but they still kind of seethe about it. So that they love to orbit this kind of content that shits on it. And then that kind of evolves into just shitting on everything as well, because it kind of feels good. But you know what? Hey, I ain't hating the player. I ain't hating the player kind of thing, you know what I mean? But, like, and I don't mind dabbling now and again. But for me, when I start playing a game, man, I'm just not that interested anymore. Unless it affects me or my game, I just don't really care, man. I don't really care. Hey, let's go, Cheese. 132 watching, 59 likes. Let's get likes. Let's get some more likes on the stream, guys. Rookie numbers. Rookie numbers. If we hit 60, 30 more and I'll spend more money. You don't have to do that, dude. I appreciate the sentiment, though. But he's right, though, guys. Like the stream if you haven't liked the stream already. Let me just see what chat's saying as well. Just the last 2 temples I can spare for this banner. Got a copy of Texas Ultra on the first, Nymph, and a copy of Vulpes on the second. Nice. No laptop, though. It's well they leave Genshin and let it live in their head rent-free. Yeah, I definitely do think there is some people like that. Year one, there were a lot of streamers got that treatment, small streamers. What's that? Yeah, Demons LZ, where time when chatters were insane and annoying at backseating. What are we talking about there? Not gonna lie, the AK community was insane back then because it was somewhat huge. I think that is a factor. Like, you know, obviously, I can't say, and again, I don't want to gas the community up because it's naive to pretend that every community doesn't have its bad elements, right? Because it's humans. Humans do what humans do, right? And as communities get bigger, of course, those elements get bigger as well, don't they? So yeah, you know, I can only go off my experience. Hey, I've been lucky in the gacha space as a whole. I know what the gacha space can be like, but I've just been lucky enough that even when I think I'm giving out an opinion that gets a lot of dissenting views, most people are kind of chill with it. Now and again, I get it, but most people are pretty chill with, like, I just disagree, bro, you're wrong. Drop a dislike, move on kind of thing. And I'm like, cool, man, that's fine by me, you know what I mean?
Showing it off in CN live streams. Lowlight himself did not just become an icon for the Chinese player base, but also for the Yen one as well. Everyone loved this down-to-earth personality and his funny appearance. The one thing that Lowlight did that the community loved a lot was his amazing crossdress of Andriana. Most were in disbelief that this was actually him.
It's actually insane, isn't it, that? Like, if you showed most people that, they'd think it was a chick, right? Honestly, they would, yeah. Insane. Insane.
Cosplaying her. Lowlight was a meme god. From
You got
doing
another lap
Salt
land in a
Bay
free
to
pool.
Bakamitai,
Holy
he
shit.
was playing
Congrats.
a major role for
I'm
the
not
game's
salty.
future,
I'm not
even
jealous.
after the game's launch.
Definitely not.
He was also still drawing characters. One even
Would either
became
way.
a fan favorite to this day. May I introduce you W? People loved her, with the amazing rap she came with. Truly setting an example of how you can make
Sometimes it takes to be a true man is to become the best
All the
girl.
more fitting it was that she was the first anniversary limited operator. We came along with her, and people loved her just as much at that time. Sadly, I wasn't able to find the Ian livestream for it.
Man,
so
we're going in
will
deep
be
with this
looking at
video,
the
I love
GP
it.
one. Here we got to see quite a difference in quality for the livestream. From VTuber Amiya to cosplays to many cool PVs. I still
Quality's definitely
remember
better.
watching it,
Holy
and
shit.
when they brought out Thermal X Robot, I was just stunned. Shit's amazing. Anyway, people were excited for it, and the GP livestream was super well received. With that, Arknights went to its second year, and the community has recovered a lot from the Dark Age. The second year was really strong, with its released waifus. Rosa, Suzerain, Gladia, Pallas, Carnelian, Calcit,
Me too, Renegade, me too, definitely.
Blemisha, Madrock Dusk, and my personal favorite of the year, Skadi, the Corruption of Heart. It was clear they were still pumping out a lot of incredible characters. It's obviously a personal preference.
Again, when it comes to splash arts, particularly, not just characters, because like for me, there's other games that do it, but like splash art, I think Wuthering Waves and Arknights do some of the best. And I'm specifically talking about splash art there, not so much characters in actual character design and in-game characters and that, even though they're up there for me as well. As I say, Star Rail, Wua, Zenly Zone Zero and Arknights in regards to character design, but regards to splash art, Wuthering Waves and Arknights kill it, man.
Which year you like more waifu-wise? Since year 1 also had many great waifus, like for example Skadi, Schwartz, Ostomer, Blaze, Nien, Bagpipe, W, Chen and Weedy. Characters were still their biggest strength in my opinion, and with the release of Chapter 7 and 8, people certainly had some amazing content to play that year.
Wuthering Waves kills it in 3D arts, Arknights kills it in the grittier style of splash arts. I think Wua does it really good in both. I think the thing is, what for me, Wuthering Waves is like, this is one thing where, for me, like, well, I'll make a direct comparison. Is like, when I look at artwork in Genshin, I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And then the character comes in, I'm like, oh, that looks cool. But like, the artwork in Wuthering Waves, even though it looks really good, it's like undersold, because then you get the character in game, it's like, holy shit, the character looks really, really good now. And that's one thing I've got to give props to Wua for that, because like in-game models, they're top tier.
Year. Chapter 7 though was 1,000 times better than Chapter 8, at least in my opinion. This year we also saw in early February the event Keobis Fungemist, which was pretty much IS1, a roguelike event. People loved it so much that they requested this mode to be a permanent one. We would also get to see the first collab on the EN server. This would be the Originum Dust event, where Arknights collabed with
Yo,
Rainbow
I need to get
Six
round to it,
Siege,
cheese. I'm
giving
down.
us
I'm so
Lord
down,
Ash
bro.
and
I'm
Frost
so
with
down.
it. Also,
And
another
Oblivion.
mode would be added for the first time. This was the co-op mode. Here we would get to see the big issue with only having one global server.
I might play it Sunday,
if you
actually.
were from Africa
I might
or
play it Sunday
Asia or
evening.
even Europe, you had to deal with insanely high ping.
I've got
when
stuff to
playing
do
a
on
co-op
Saturday,
event,
but I think I might play it
making
Sunday,
very
actually.
difficult to enjoy it for many of its players across the globe. Regardless, those who were able to play it enjoyed it a lot, but since many couldn't really play it, the request of adding it as a permanent mode was a lot less than as for the IS event. The year flew by in no time.
I am gutted that I missed the Rainbow
second
Six
anniversary. This anniversary
I
came
am
not
sad about
without
that.
its own drama, since we saw the introduction of Surtur this year, the first character being Power Creep.
Not gonna lie, like, I didn't even know about it until obviously I started playing the game, and I was like, holy shit, as somebody who was a fan of the game, Siege, that is, it's one that I'm sad I missed that one, because yeah, it's pretty cool that is as a collab, and it's such a one that for me personally, I'm like, damn, at the time I would have been surprised by that.
Community had feared that
Have
they
to
would
pray for a
eventually add a
rerun.
Power Creep character as a limited one.
Oh, I'm trash
And
at Siege
this
now, dude.
year,
If I go on
it came
Siege
true
now,
with
the meta's
Chalter.
changed so much.
Not
I get
only would
bodied.
she then become the strongest character in Arknights, she would also be limited, which many players were upset with. If you would not manage to get her, you will be at a disadvantage for over a year, and even then, you would need to do 300 pulls on the banner in a year from then, and only then you would get her guaranteed. Pretty much every server wasn't happy about it. But as you can imagine, there's a lot more to the drama, but I can only go so much into detail in a video that long. In the end, Chen kept her insane power and eventually the drama died down. And it meant back to business. Since its launch 2 years ago, Arknights and its community have changed a lot. People that played Arknights were mostly already playing it for longer, and new players started to become lesser and lesser. One problem is that Arknights is just a visually appealing game.
Keeping the torch lit, guys.
Keeping it lit. Harder and more complicated. Watching a veteran player beat a hard stage was only appealing for someone already knowing what is happening on screen. As example, you can watch a dude beat Dark Souls and enjoy without having any knowledge about the game. But it isn't the same for Arknights. Content Creator had a very hard time attracting an audience that was not playing the game. It was all up to Yoastar to fill this gap. And this is also where Yoastar would redeem themselves a lot. Yoastar did in fact not have the best reputation among the community due to the scuffed Any streams and the bad YouTube ads in the recent year. Yoastar has learned a lot from the past mistakes they made and made significant improvements on how they were handling Arknights. First, they introduced the heat hunting program. If you were a content creator with a set number of followers, you would be able to apply for it and get merch and rewards for uploading content for the game. Second, the ads were also known to be very bad, and everyone said they should just add PVs and music in their ads. They eventually...
I still can't get over that they had these ads. Insane. Oh, geez. Insane. It's actually insane that a game that, like, obviously, when I first saw it, I was like, what is this? But after playing it, to see the quality in this game and to see that it got sold so fucking short by these disgusting ads is absolutely insane.
They started doing this, and when you get an Arknights ad now, most of the time you get greeted by either insane music or awesome animation. Two major improvements to start off the year. Waifu-wise, the third year was just as strong. Sailage, Fartooth, Nerl, the Radiant Knight, Flametail, Ling, Golden Glow, Fiametta, Horn, Irene, and Spectre the Unchained were again very strong. This would also become the year where IS would finally become a permanent mode as IS2, and people absolutely loved it. Arknights was dire of endgame content for people that have been playing the game for over 3 years.
Yeah, chat, I think we have to do a Dr. Cosplay. I think we have to do one. I might have a look in a minute, see if I can get one.
So this was truly a blessing to have this being added to the game. The third year itself would become a rather quiet year though. Not really any drama to cover, nor any significant events that added modes we have not seen before.
I love the look at these stages.
Modes the community wanted
they look so cool. I like the bright stages.
I want to talk about is the Vigalo event. It was rather early in the year, around February. It was a small event with only 7 stages, but for me, it felt like the best event so far. Maybe only stage-wise, but it felt like the person that created those stages had a lot of fun doing it. The stages were rather simple, but they were hard. Multiple bosses were randomly mixed into the stages, with always having the feeling that the person that made it just enjoyed his time. And that's why for me, at least stage-wise, this was truly the coolest event I've seen so far in the game. Anyway, time flies.
Obviously, I haven't done this content in the game, but that's one of my biggest positives about Arknights. It's the stage variety, the actual stage design, the mechanics. It's actually impressive. And I'm only like chapter 5 and done some event stuff, you know? I haven't gone that far into the game yet. So the fact that they're still continuing to do that stuff 6 years later, and almost 6 years later for EN, it's kind of crazy really for just a tower defense game as well.
I spy quickly once again, and we have now arrived at the 3rd anniversary. Since I just talked about my favorite event, at least stage-wise, let's talk about my favorite event based on the theme and the marketing. The 3rd anniversary event was outstanding. From 2 of the best characters they have ever designed, which are Gabriel Ultra and Pussy Mark.
Double on yesterday, not today, but soon.
Also super cool,
very, very soon.
With 2 amazing banger songs along with it. Undertopia for Pussy.
This is a tune. This is a tune.
And all
Speaking of Dr. Cosplay, I sent a short clip of our watch-along stream and reaction. Oh, really? I thought that then, Renegade. Man, dude, this game and its music is so fucking peak. Insane. Like, it's ridiculous the amount of quality tunes this game has. It's wild.
Absolute banger.
I just want to go back and listen to music again.
With this theme was an absolute blessing. I even made a content creator event at the time, inviting all the content creators I knew to give back to the community I was so indebted by. Also, the Yen livestream have now VTuber models, and the quality has improved a ton. Yoastar really tries to keep the redemption arc going. Anyway, it's time for the 4th and final year.
Man, I need to go to Japan, man. I'd love to get to Japan.
I took a longer break from
China.
content creation, and I didn't witness everything that happened in this year. But the one thing I can call the biggest success of it was certainly the Yato Ultra event. Because this was actually a crossover with Monster Hunter, a long-awaited collab, and people were loving it. Even though I was not playing it at the time. Twitter Arknights reached its peak. I absolutely loved that every Arknights character was made fan art of in the Yato Ultra outfit, and this is really the one thing that got me back into the game as well. It was so fun seeing all the characters again with the passion of its community. This year would also get to see a new version of IS. This is IS 3.
Destiny dead in a ditch somewhere for real, yeah.
I've been playing it a lot recently, and I freaking love it.
Have they ever made any announcement, a further announcement about that it's not happening, or we'll come back to you on it kind of thing? Is it just radio silence, like? Because it's kind of crazy that he's really.
It is so well done. IS2 was very cool, but the theme wasn't really to my liking.
No,
but
it's just dead.
IS3 really brings out the best of the roguelike mode. And waifu-wise, the year was also really...
So what does that mean, that it's not happening, or they're just, you'd think, well, I don't know, you'd think maybe just like some passing mention somewhere in a, you know, in a corporate notice on the website or something, like, because like, you know, because it hasn't been announced, it's like, well, it still could happen, but it's like, it's probably not, right? You know, it's probably not, especially considering, you know, where Bungie are at now. Bungie are moving on to Marathon, and it looks like that's going to fucking be dead in a ditch itself. Talking about dead in a ditch, I said that the other day. Bungie sent Marathon out to die, man, and it looks like Arc Raiders has come along and put a bullet in the back of its head, stuck him round back and fucking shot him.
Strong. Penance, Texas Alter, Reed Alter, Lin, Quebe, also sorry for mispronouncing that so bad, Yato Alter, Ines, Ho, Mol Size, and Alter Silence. A strong lineup for sure. This year we also saw a new mode, which was a farming mode that many people really enjoyed, some even asking it to be a permanent mode in the game. But
That's
to summarize this year briefly, it was an amazing year.
Super interesting.
People really enjoyed all the events that were out, the characters that were released, and all the modes that got introduced. And now we are already celebrating its 4th anniversary. And with that, we have arrived at the present. I really appreciate that you watched the entire journey of Arknights, and I wish you have an amazing anniversary with it. But with that said, thank you so much for watching the video to the end, and also big thanks for all the support in previous years. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe, and maybe even share it around if you thought it was actually good. But with that said, thank you so much for watching, and today I want to end the video a little bit differently and say, happy birthday, Arknights.
That was a really good video, actually. That was a really good video. Well researched. That must have took some time to make that video. Well edited.
Yeah, how long it takes?
Got all the clips together. Got all the footage together. Dude spent a bit of time on this video. I'm a year behind on this one, but if dude ever sees this, if you ever see this, that's what YouTube's about, man. That's some quality H2O right there. I really appreciated that video. As somebody who's new to the game, you know, getting a little overview of the journey is really cool. So yeah, share it. See, this is what I hate to keep going back to Wuthering Waves, but I come from the Wuthering Waves space, right? This is what we was lacking, man. You've got Sydney Mar, right? And Ryuku's doing some really good stuff recently, especially the interview he did with the VA. But yeah, it's lacking this, man. It's lacking this. Arknights seems to have quite a lot of this sort of content. These sort of content is where there's passion for the game and making content around the game, you know? Renegade making great content, Plus Minus making great content, a bunch of other people making great content, Keo, Cookie, all this sort of stuff where it's about the game as well. And going a little bit beyond as well, you know, not just putting up gameplay footage of, oh, look what I cleared and stage clears and new patch notes and stuff. Actual proper content surrounding the game. And it's really good to see. And it's one thing that Wuthering Waves, in my opinion, is crying out for. But anyway, back to Arknights. Great video. Loved it. And yeah, as somebody who's new to the game, I'm excited for the future, even though, you know, there's been 6 years on CN side and 5.5, I guess, on EN side. And gotta throw it in there. Can't wait for Enfield as well, chat. Can't wait. I am so hyped for Enfield. But this was a really good video. If you haven't checked out Sethith, guys, go check him out. Go drop a sub and show some love, because this was a banger. A banger video, if you ask me. Absolutely good one. Loved it.